One.
Do a great minute tonight. Andre, the China
Hulkamania is running wild.
My God, what a It's not the world is watching.
Are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
The lace in your dress dangles my neck. How do I the dance of the bachelor? Letting the water fall. The dance of the bachelor. Seems so fitting for happily ever after. How can I ask for more? A lifetime of pleasure at the expense of a death of a bachelor.
I'm cutting my mind off. It feels like my heart is going to burst. Alone at a table for two, and I just wanna be served. And when you think of me, am I the best you ever known? Someone would drink with me, solid into your side.
I'm walking the road, watching the sky fall. The lace in your dress dangles my neck. How do I the dance of the bachelor? Letting the water fall. The dance of the bachelor. Seems so fitting for happily ever after. How can I ask for more? A lifetime of pleasure at the expense of a death of a bachelor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday morning live at the Place to Be Reviews. I'm Etepokuian, right here with all of yous. And as soon as I take this cover off, you'll be able to see my handsome face, but you don't want to see that too much, do you? No, we're going to talk Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Welcome, everyone watching. Hit that like button. If you're working and lurking, just hit the like button. I understand. Hey, Nikki D dropping a $2 super chat early. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. You know what we do with super chats up in here. We reward super chats. We got special bumpers for super chats. And I got to switch brands to do this, but that's all right. We can do that real quick here and get you a super chat bumper for dropping us some loot early in the morning. Your hard-earned dollars. I appreciate that. I do. That is very kind of you, Nikki. So for your $2 super chat, we'll give you our newest super chat bumper. So here you go.
Come on! Hey, what's happening, brother?
There you are, Nikki. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. Hear Trey yelling in the background. Keely Chow, Nikki D in the chat. Nano Reaper's up in here. I'm sure we got some people working and lurking, but let me introduce our guest. She hasn't been here in so long, and we at the channel missed her terribly because she's a great friend of the channel. From the other side of the pond, let me play this because I made this especially for you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we're going to introduce her before I say her name.
Shouldn't have come out to play with a big boys wee because you're about to get a proper Scottish welcome.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Vassy Reviews.
Oh, hello, hello. Thank you for having me. It's been ages. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, so true though.
I did. I was like, I used that in my, because like I said, I went to see Uncharted and Saturday night, And I was like, I saw that part, and I'm like, I can use this for something. And when we decided to do this, I'm like, that has been in the back of my mind all week. I'm like, I need to make this clip in like 10 minutes before you jumped on. I was editing it up. I'm like, here we go. Let me throw this up. So I can play that for Jesse.
Well played. I need to watch this film now. God damn it.
It's okay. Before we get into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I've never played the Uncharted games, so I didn't have that, where I'm like, it's not accurate. I didn't. I'm not knocking the people who are saying it's not accurate. I'm not at all, because I'm the same way with some properties. I just didn't have that predetermined, like, okay, so it's got to meet these, criterion. To me, it was just a turn your brain off action flick. And speaking of turning your brain off, that's a good segue into Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
Good point. Very good point.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We'll do positives first before we go into the bad stuff. The positives I took from it, I have to say, was the cinematography. There was some great distance shots. There was great landscape shots. I enjoyed the lighting. I think that stuck out a lot. I don't know if you found the same thing with the certain skyline shots as well. I really enjoyed them. That's that's all my positives, I think. All I can remember.
Okay, so I can hail rookie critic. Hail, brother. Welcome. I can say this about the movie. Aesthetically, I thought the set pieces look good. The set pieces look good. The skyline shots, that's kind of like, it's kind of an iconic thing in this franchise, is those skyline shots. And now, mind you, there's a lot of these movies. A lot of the there's more Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies than you would think. A lot of them are very bad, though. The 80s and 90s ones are they're terrible. But they're fun. Like Matthew McConaughey and Dennis Hopper have been in this franchise. That's the reach of it. And it's, so we have the aesthetics, the skyline, the set pieces were good. I thought the gore scenes in this were done extremely well. The special effects for a Netflix movie were solid. I thought the kill scenes were pretty good. I had no issue there.
I don't know what I was expecting gore-wise because it's Netflix. And I was kind of thinking, are we going to get, we have 12s, so our rating system's a bit different. So I thought we might have had a bit dumbed down. But when he snapped that dude's wrist and slammed it into his neck, I was like, all right, cool. Okay, I'm going with this. This is fun. Okay. And then when some of the special effects work, like with Dante's face, getting a cleaver to the mug, that was was some good special effects.
Yeah, that was cool. It was like the wrist snap scene. I liked that. Because that was like out of nowhere, just like snap back. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And it always trips me out when one of these, so small town law enforcement in these movies are either they're all extremely badasses or they're extremely stupid. And this guy was just, it hurt my brain. I'm like, because I come from a family full of cops, and I'm just like, like, are you really that stupid? Like, come on, but it's small town. Nothing happens. There's barely anybody that lives there,
Anybody that seems to live there. There's like 3 people in the town, which I didn't understand.
Right? Yeah, it didn't make much sense to me. Like, why are you not knocking this down? Nano Reaper. Now, Nano Reaper's from the great state of Texas. I'll come back to you in a minute, MMA Granny. He says any Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie longer than the perp getting popped is too long. That's what made me laugh about the original one. Those two guys are documenting it. The two sheriffs are documenting it in the basement, and Leatherface is down there and he kills them. I'm like, so you have an unsecured crime scene, and you're just down there wandering around with a camera and no, I'm like, okay. All right, this makes sense. All right. MMA Grant says, is Leatherface any good? I assume you're referring to the 2017 one. I did not watch it. I didn't. Nope, I did not. I'm just like, this is probably going to be a reboot You know, so I'm like, I'm not gonna. I see Steven Dorff was in it, which is good. I don't recognize any of the other cast in that movie except for Steven Dorff. Finn Jones, that name's familiar. But you've got like
Hunger Games, or is that a different guy?
I don't know. Let me look. Finn Jones. He might have been. English. He's English. Let's see. I don't know. I'm gonna look up his IMDb. The Night of the Flowers. He was in Game of Thrones. That's where I remember him from. Game of Thrones. Okay. Yeah, I can't speak to Leatherface MMA Grant. Thank you for joining us though. Slap that like button for me. Hail my sketchbook 340. So that is there's been so many entries into this, but no, I did. I like the kill scenes. I thought the shot of him holding the mask up was kind of cool. You know, that was neat. I didn't understand how, like, that lady is still his mom.
Yeah.
You know, from the orphanage is still living there. Like, it didn't make, like, every building is emptied out. Like, it seems like if they were gentrifying that,
Yeah.
you know, and as soon as they kicked her out, I'm just like, they're gonna come back and find that she's the legal owner of that, and that's what's gonna set everything off is them messing with her, and sure enough was, you know.
I felt like when the Tesla car pulled up, and I'm like, all right, cool, we're in present time. And then I was trying to figure out her age, and then I was trying to figure out Leatherface's age, and then I was getting confused of what time period we were in, because I don't think the maths are adding up.
No, the numbers were off, and that kind of leads us into the bad, because I'm like, so Leatherface would probably be, he'd have to be, judging by those pictures, they were black and white.
Yeah.
He's got to be in his mid to late 50s. And then you've got the Tesla is obviously brand new.
Yeah.
So it's like and they're in modern times, you know, because everybody's doing they mention cancel culture which was funny. I love that. You try anything and you're canceled, bro. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, kill him now,
And
please.
They did. They killed him.
Gutted with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, and honestly, that was for Netflix, who has a tendency to, you know, Netflix things up a bit. I was very shocked that they made the choice to kill an Asian first in that scene. But again, I'm like, well, I mean, let's look at it. They look at Asians like they're white adjacent by college admission standards. So I'm like, it stands to reason in a horror movie they die just as easily as the white people. So I'm like, okay. All right, and yeah, see, the Tesla driver, Nano Reaper said the Tesla driver better have been the first to die. That was Dante. The Dante, right?
Yeah.
So he didn't die first, but he got messed up pretty quick.
The most unlucky.
So-
I think he was actually the worst. I actually hated him the most, I think, of all of them. And it was very
annoying.
strange. It was the weird, like, I couldn't figure out if they were trying to make us hate them so they died quicker. And I was like, I'm fine hating them, but it was just weird. And then after we were watching 2003, even the annoying characters you still sympathize with.
Yeah.
Possibly Lila or Layla. I liked her, but the rest were just, oh my gosh. I was like, why are you surviving this long? It took too long to kill some of them.
Just they were insufferable characters. That was the thing. Oh God, what was Lila and her sister.
Melody,
those two.
yeah.
Melody was the one with the afro. The little, She had the 19. See, that was the thing, is like she looked like she was dressed like it was the 80s. Like the hair.
Yeah.
The hair and the clothes, I'm like, that's like 1980s like garb right there.
Yeah, it's just the whole the clothes in the car, and I'm like, oh, okay, what age are we in? And then the thing that I think triggered me as well at the petrol station, and the local guy just pulls off trying to put diesel in his car, and then she's giving him a lecture, and I'm like, oh Christ, right? And then she's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why are we doing this at the start of the film?
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, so are they going to try to make the white guy driving the coal rolling diesel, look like a villain here? And they kind of got slapped in the face with that one when he's the contractor,
Yeah, I love that
for
one.
their.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. I'm like, it works. And then the Lila's in there later on in the movie, smoking a cigarette with him, playing with his guns and shit. I'm like, and then the sister automatically, did you sleep with him? Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, George, like what? Like he's only there like 5 minutes. Like what the hell? And then he literally explains to her, we have, I think he said hogs or boar or whatever. He said in the area, like I'm gonna carry a gun, and she's like, and I'm like, have you been to Texas? You've been to Texas 5 minutes. You're yelling at the locals and then breaking into people's houses. Like, where do you come from? I'm very confused.
Yeah, like this guy's lived here his whole life, and you're judging him like. This is, I was like, this, but it was a great allegory for the way that that culture is. It really is. And it just made me want them to die even more, which it worked because I'm like, let's get on with the killing.
And I think
but
as
yeah,
well, we're experiencing it here. I don't know if you guys are. Many people are leaving larger cities and they're moving into smaller towns. But I did that, but they're not kind of adopting the kind of way the town is, the way that the mannerisms and stuff are. So I've experienced that living where I am. And I'm just like, the minute they pulled up in the Tesla and then she started giving me a lecture, I was like, oh no, just die. Just no.
Yeah, hey buddy. It's ridiculous because I live in a smaller city, and it's kind of like that here. Like you get the people that move here from like the metro areas, and they're like, it's like, no, that's not the way this works here. Like I mean, it's not exactly like a 1-horse town like that. I mean, there's about, I don't know, 8, 9, maybe 10,000 people here. A little bit more in the summer because it's more of a vacation kind of place, but yeah, it's always funny. You can, and the glaring discrepancies are never more clear than when we go out to like a bar or something. It's like, really? Oh yeah, we went out last weekend before we went to Uncharted, and it's my wife and I and another couple, and we're sitting there, and these two girls at the table behind us. I'm just like, we walked in, I looked at them, I just looked at the way they're dressed. I'm like, yeah, they're here. They're vacationers. I'm like, they got like these little cutesy, like low cut shoulderless tops on, and like Ugg boots with the fur on them and shit. And I'm just like, these two bitches are from the suburbs. I'm like, they're from the suburbs. I'm like, you come up, get from the burb, come up north. I'm like, because they were. I'm like, yeah, you two ain't from around here. Nope.
Geez.
Nope.
Yeah.
I've lived here my whole life outside of like 6 years when I moved away. We came back. But yeah, so I can imagine like Richter was the guy that drove the Ram. I could imagine like just his like dumbfoundedness, I guess is the best way to describe like dealing with these idiots. And when they pull into the town, they roll in there, and yeah, the first thing they do, you're not supposed to be here, to that woman, and they start giving him shit. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm your contractor. And it's like, these are the kind of presumptuous, just pretentious assholes that you see, and it's funny. Hail brightest day. What's going on, brother? Welcome.
Yeah, they kind of looked down on him because, I don't know, whether like, oh, they're from Texas. And then he ended up having the kind of best moral compass out of a lot of them.
He did. He did, which made his demise that much more difficult to take, because I honestly thought that he would last a little bit longer than he did. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, wait, what? Like, okay, yeah. So we can start talking deaths now. If you're not subscribed to Brightest Day, man, my fellow United Underground member, go subscribe. His link is in the chat right now. Go over and subscribe to my man. Give him a subscription. Congrats on hitting over 1,000, brother. Proud of you, man. Proud of you. But yeah, it's and Vassy's channel is listed in the description to this video, but I'll post that in the chat right now for you as well. What was so the first set of deaths we got? Well, the first death we got overall was the old lady keeling over in the in the house. She threw up and then just keels over.
Did you find as well? Okay, I don't know if this was like they were trying to make us hate her, but my thing was when they broke into her house because they didn't want the flag there, and she was trying to explain it had been in her family, and they're like, no, at her, and I was like, she's an old woman, like, what are you doing?
Yep.
And then I did not take what she said as a slur or being demeaning to Dante at all.
No.
And then he went off on his high horse, and I'm like, she's probably 80 years old. She, like, you can't expect the elderly and stuff to keep up with the language changes and stuff. And I'm like, this is like ridiculous. Then she gets manhandled and she has a medical episode, and I'm like, am I supposed to hate her because you stuck that flag outside her house? Because I'm not. I'm still an elderly lady getting bullied by a bunch of younger people. To me, anyway.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, I don't find this to be a slur at all, and especially the way she said, what did she call him, a Negro? Is that what she said?
Yeah.
She said Negro, and I'm like, okay, the way now, if you use it, you can put that accent, the emphasis on it to make it sound like an insult, but to me she didn't, and that's why I said it on the stream. To me, it's not. It's all in the context of exactly. that word. That word. It wasn't meant as an insult. She's old. That was. And she wasn't. And she was. It's not like she was like being sassy with him. And the whole flag thing. Yeah, I'm not a proponent of the Confederate flag, but does it offend me? No. Yeah. Especially someone that age. I mean. If it's some 18-year-old out running around, throwing racial epithets around, okay, we're going to have a problem. But I mean, this is an old lady. The flag's been in their family for years, and it's like, whatever. If you're going to take it, that's the thing. Is like, oh, take it down. I'm like, do you realize where you are? Do you realize where you are? Like, come on.
It was like they were trying to demean, like, she's obviously ran the boys' home, and how many children has she helped? But, like, that was, like, pushed away because, she might be a racist, maybe not. And they had an issue with her. And then, because she said a word, like she's, like, 80. I just couldn't understand that. And then they broke into her house again, like, half an hour later.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, BDs are fine. All right, cool. This is fine from yuppie land. We just do this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it was ridiculous. And then as soon as they started arguing with her about the house not being hers, I'm like, as soon as they find that deed, it's going to be hers. That's I told the way I'm like, it's going to be hers. It is. And what do you know? Sure enough, I was right. Nano Reaper, the Texas liberals have been corralled to Austin, not Texas. Houston, Denton, not Texas. San Antonio and some parts of Dallas and El Paso. Okay. Drew. So that puts Drew over 1,000. Excellent, man. Good for Drew. Supreme Heretic hit over 1,000. Man, we're all getting there now. It's nice. It's nice. Imagine we'll be celebrating next week on Tuesday, but. Yeah, so the old lady, they take her away in the ambulance, and that girl, Ruth was her name, I believe it was, the blonde, Dante's girlfriend. Yeah, I think it was Blondie. I looked it up on IMDb. That's the only reason I remember their names, because the only dude, the only one I remembered was Richter, because I liked him. I'm like, when he died, I was like, Like
the knee was sick, dude. Honestly, and he kept fighting. That was the thing. It was like,
Oh yeah, I was like, I figured, he might survive with like a little injury, but yeah, no, that didn't happen. I'm like, he's got AR-15 there, and he goes in. Now I know he's in close quarters, so the handgun would have done better. But I'm like, she showed him where Leatherface was with the mirror, and his reaction time. By the time he reacted, it was too late. I'm just like, as soon as I saw that, my first instinct would have been to back up and create space, between the two of us. So, he's going in, and I'm like, dude, take a couple steps back. You can see him. He's got to make him come to you. That's, and it's one of my pet peeves with firearms in movies. I'm like, especially with like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when they were shooting at Sharon Carter and she's like destroying everybody. I'm like, why are these guys running up to her with guns? I'm like, you do know those are projectiles you're firing, right? It's as bad as when you see like the Hood movies and they're like throwing the bullets or like shooting like this with the gun. I'm like, you don't have to throw the bullets. The gun does the work for you. I'm like,
yeah.
So when he just goes walking in, I'm like, oh God, like what? He's dead. He's dead.
Yeah, I felt it was really like, has he been living there years? Because I kind of felt like in a normal instance, you probably might have called, I can't remember Leatherface's actual name. You might have called out his name. You probably knew him beforehand. But he's like, no, gonna have to go kill him. And I was like, but you know him. Can you not just like, yeah, right? It was just, oh no, we have to shoot him. And then when he pulled, when she was under the bed and stuff, and then the other thing I have to say, when he whacked Dante in the face, sorry, and I was like, excellent. Then he ended up going outside, but that makeup effects was aces, though, I have to say.
It was. That was one of the probably one of the best effects in the movie was his face after he got clocked with, what was it? Was it a meat cleaver? He hit him with?
It was a meat cleaver, yeah.
Yeah, because it was the one, because they made a point to show it, like sticking up on the counter when he went into the kitchen. So I think it was the meat cleaver. Yeah. Hail Parrot Head. He said, hail Vassy in the people's nose. There you go, buddy. Drink that in. Davian Donaldson says, hello, Pete and Vassy. My 3 favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre films are 2, The Next Generation, and 2013. I've seen the second one. The Next Generation was in the original franchise, because wasn't that the one with like Matthew McConaughey and Dennis Hopper? Maybe if they were in the same movie, I can't remember. It's been so long. There was one in 2013. I'll have to look it up. I don't know. Nano Reaper says, how the hell can you sneak around with a chainsaw? He didn't really use the chainsaw until the midway through the movie. Because he had to get it. He had it in the wall. That was another thing. When he ripped the chainsaw out of the wall.
Yeah, like what? Okay, I'm trying to figure out what age was he when he went into her house, and did she not question the chainsaw he put in the wall?
Right. I mean, I take it he was raised there.
Yeah.
But and she said he was the last one of her boys. But I'm like, why would she let him bring a chainsaw in? I mean, did he sneak it in? And how did he drywall that or patch that up? Like, how did you explain, a big ass hole in the wall? I didn't understand that. I'm like, I guess I'm not supposed to think about it, is what they're telling me at this point, but.
Yeah. And I love the, the shot in the doorway when it was raining and it was just the silhouette of him. That was a fantastic shot as well. They had that a lot in the promo work. I just thought it was really good as well.
There was some good camera work in this.
Yeah.
But it was just the overall writing. The writing of it and the character development was, I would say the character development was average horror movie. Enough to make you either like or hate them. But in this case, I was just like, even the youngest one at first, because she survived like a school shooting. That was her background. And I'm just like, are you gonna? They didn't. And yeah, they did the bus thing was like a callback to that. I guess I'm just like, oh God. Like, I was honestly shocked that Netflix really didn't make this full on woke. I was kind of like, because I watched a couple people talk about it on YouTube before it had come out, and the way they were describing it, it was like, this is going to be like Batwoman woke, you know. But it wasn't. It was just, I wouldn't call it woke at all, to be honest with you. It was average at best to me. That's my kind of line of thought. It was average, with some above average special effects at times, and like soap opera quality acting, like Lifetime movie quality acting. I didn't recognize any of these actors from anything else.
No, I didn't either. And also, I don't know if you found when they kept showing, is it Layla or Lila's backstory? And I was like, okay, cool. I thought we were going to get like a final girl arc, and she was going to have to, you know, it's time to like buck up now, and you're going to have to be the hero, save yourself and your sister. And it never really happened because they were jumping back and forth between her and Melody, and then Melody was saving her. And I was like, who was the final girl? If you're not doing the trope, why are we jumping back and forth? And then Lila still didn't get her time to shine at the end. It was Melody again, like
there was really no, like you said, there was no clear final girl in this. It was like they were almost sharing the mantle. Hail, Frankie Knows. What's going on, brother? Welcome. He says, I like how nobody knew how to open a bus window to escape.
So true.
Yes. they're just pounding on the windows. I'm just like, oh God, like God bless them. They're retarded. Like I didn't think the bus was short. I'm just saying, don't throw stones. I'm just saying the bus wasn't short. They should have known how to open a window.
And then the other thing, you know, they ran back on the bus after they found Dante was still alive, and they just left him there dead. I just thought that was so funny. He's just literally left on the pavement, and they all fecked off and went in the bus. I was like, oh, no, first aid, no, nothing. All right, and then they just ran.
Just stay here, Dante. Just stay here. We'll come back and clean you up later. And they're like, we're not gonna come back for him.
No, walk it off. It'll be fine.
Side of his face is hanging. Oh. Hey.
Oh, but I love the bus incident though, dude. I love like the chainsaw through your man's chest. Oh, it was so good. It was just I was hoping they weren't gonna like wuss out of it, because from the, you know, the promo had them like recording with their phones, and I was like, if you guys escape out the back of the bus and we don't get a blood fest, I'm gonna be so mad. And they held up their side. I was actually really surprised though. I was shocked that they went that graphic with that scene, because you were seeing limbs get cut off. He, like I said, he shoved that chainsaw right through Chow Yun Fat's chest. That was savage, you know. Well, he killed a bus driver, because the bus driver, of course, he's the biggest idiot. He just, hang on, I'll be right back. Well, he's dead. You know, it's like, let's see the creative way that this corpse gets used, and did not disappoint. Threw the head back onto the bus. I'm just like, you know, and this is the thing. So Leatherface is, you know, obviously, I don't want to say he's like mentally challenged or anything, because he obviously has the cognitive function to use a chainsaw, and you know, hide and, you know, play kind of a cat and mouse game with these people. A lot of which could be taken as instinctual, because he's kind of like an apex predator. You know what I mean? But on the other hand, he's got the wit to take, you know, to cut somebody's head off and then know that this is going to elicit a frightened reaction, and just throws it back onto the bus. So it's like, where exactly, and this is just me, but I'm like, this is the kind of analytical dumb shit that I think about. I'm just like, where is his cognitive function on the scale? Like, you know, what's his level of intelligence? It's obviously not, you know, he's not an amoeba, you know, just not a mindless killing machine, you know, because he does have, you know, he can use a chainsaw. You know, he knows how to start it. I mean, you got to choke those things. They don't just start right up. You know, they need to be gassed and oiled eventually. So it's like, he knows how to do this. You know, you've seen him like quartering out, you know, people and animals and whatnot. He knows how to, you know, skin things. So it's,
It's like he's got to have a decent enough intellect and just be probably a little like a step behind, to be able to do all this stuff.
And did you find he outsmarted Hardesty? Is that woman? It's basically Jamie Lee Curtis. They brought that thing back, and then
Yes. Whoops! What happened to Vassy? Hang on. We'll get her back here in a minute. Says she's not connected. But no, to her point about there she is. There you go.
the internet dipped out.
I didn't know if it was you or me because I'm streaming on Wi-Fi right now because my wife's using the Ethernet for her work, which is much more important than what I do. So, and I'm not being sarcastic, it is. So, no, the Sally Hardesty thing, yeah, that was straight up Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh gosh,
that was.
It felt lazy as well.
It's like, okay, so in now I understand that trauma creates two different kinds of people. It creates victims and it creates, heroes. And she was obviously, it created a hero out of her. But yeah, it was very lazy when you could have had another final girl already. You had Melody and Lila that you could have used, but instead, bringing her back, I don't think that was a good move. I think that was the original actress too.
Oh, was it?
I have to look. I think it was, because it looked. If it wasn't, they did an excellent job of casting her, because they nailed that right on the head. Here we go, right here. Let me see. I pulled up the cast. Yeah, that was it kind of got. Let's see. Sally Hardesty her name is Olwen. I can't pronounce that last name. It looks French, but I don't know if that's. Let's see. That can't be her. Let's see. Wow, this lady's got a long history of acting, but it only goes back to 1980, and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was from 1974, I think. So, yeah.
I didn't understand that addition, and then I didn't understand why she left the girls locked in the car, and then I didn't understand why she walked into getting killed. And I was like, why? What?
Oh, that was so frustrating. I'm like, so you lock them in the back of your police vehicle, so if you get killed, they're trapped, and basically you've sealed their fate. It's just ridiculous. Hail Nerdporio Lifeform, another Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Netflix already sounds bad. It was like a 50-50, Nerdporio. I'll give it that. Damian Donaldson says Ash from The Evil Dead and Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre are both king of the chainsaws. Yes, they are, because Ash has got that one on his hand. No, I didn't like the Sally Hardesty edition. I didn't. I'm just like, you could have completely done without that and had your final girls. You've got new characters. Develop the new characters. Don't be lazy. And you said it when you said lazy writing. That's exactly what it was. And her character motivation. She's a Texas Ranger now and has been for some time.
Yeah.
Based on the story, so she knows how to handle herself. Why she died the death she did was absolutely ridiculous. There was no reason for that. She had every opportunity to kill him, and she passed up on it because the plot needed her to. It was strictly plot devices, and it was. I was getting angry. I was getting angry a little bit.
Yeah, because I started getting annoyed with the characters, and then I kind of felt like they saw Halloween Kills. They're like, we need to do that now. And then they didn't put any effort really in, apart from saying she was a ranger to show that she'd been training for this just in case he ever came back. It was just like she got a phone call off the random dude in the garage, and then she's like, yeah, mommy, wait. And I'm like, are you ready for this? I'm confused. Like, what?
Yeah, that they literally showed nothing of her backstory, really. Except the picture she looked at. Remember, she looked at a picture of the original cast in the van, and I'm like, okay, that's it? Like, okay, so you're just, and I'm not a huge fan of a lot of flashbacks because there's been times where that is completely overused and it takes away from where you're at currently. But a little bit with her would have been, a little goes a long way, I guess you could say with this. And they really missed the bus with that because it's just like it's the tell don't show, and that's why we kind of landed where we did with her. And it was just like, I don't know why you're doing this way, but okay. Yeah, Nano says, this thing was so cheap it wasn't even filmed in the U.S. Yeah, like Vassy told me before we came on air, it was filmed in Bulgaria. I did not know that. My sketchbook says, why didn't they just raise a whole new version of Leatherface? The time frame is way off. Leather should have been played by Stallone for authenticity.
There's actually so many ways you could have fixed it. Because then after I watched it, I was like, oh no, we should have done this and this. And I think, honestly, I felt that if we'd had Richter as one of the kids that came from her home and that he'd help Leatherface kill off the kids that obviously caused his mother to pass, just some sort of twist, or that they had other family members in the town, something like that. But it was too rushed. I felt like Netflix added in the Hardesty thing myself, and then it was like the hopping back and forth between Melody and her sister didn't make any sense. It could have been more streamlined and a bit more twist and put more lore in with the family. Like, I know obviously they've been imprisoned and all, but there was a lot on the property in the original movies. There's no way, like, like they always had some distant cousin ended up being part of the family type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't even include anybody out of that. It's like, it seems like, there was a lot of them in that area. The sheriff, because the oh God, what was it? The Jessica Biel one. Arlie Ermey was the sheriff.
Yes.
Am I?
So
and
scary.
He was.
Yeah.
God, that man is. Yeah. I can't even begin to imagine what he was like as an actual drill instructor in the Marine Corps.
Terrifying.
I'm sure he made a lot of grunts piss themselves in basic. When they're still considered maggots and not subhuman, which I don't know if the DIs are allowed to call them subhuman maggots anymore because of my feelings and everything. But like, that's what my dad says. He goes, because he was Vietnam and he's a Marine, and he says, he goes, we didn't get to be humans until we graduated boot camp. He goes, today you're no longer worthless. You're now Marines. So
it's mad just when you say that, because my dad was in our army, and there's been stories coming out that there was complaints made that the drill instructors were calling them names, and I was like, you're in the army. Yeah. What?
Yeah. What? Depending on what your assignment is, once you clear basic or boot camp, you might be getting shot at for a living. The last thing I would be worried about is somebody hurting your feelings with a word. Your
name calling bad. Don't do that. Don't do the name calling.
Oh, Brightest Day, Full Metal Jacket. My dad showed me that movie. It came out when I was 7 years old, and he sat me down and he made me watch that movie. And he goes, this is the most realistic Vietnam movie you're ever going to see.
Oh, wow.
He goes, especially when it comes to the basic training part. Because I asked him, I said, did you guys ever do like the blanket party thing to people? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, the fatties. He goes, we had them. They put them in. They called motivational platoon. They ate special diets, but he goes, yeah, before, he goes, we had one guy before they put him in motivational platoon. He goes, which was like just code for all the fat guys were in that, all the out of shape dudes.
Yeah.
He's like, he goes, we pinned him down with a blanket and beat the shit out of him with bars of soap like that. He goes, it was like that. He goes, yeah, it says, so my dad's like, yeah, he goes, when I got out of Vietnam, I joined the police department. He goes, and I'm in the academy, and I'm starting to rip out one-arm push-ups, and all these other assholes are getting mad at me for, you're going to make us look bad. And he's like, sorry.
Yeah.
He was doing those, from when he was in basic, and, he was a boxer and shit. And he gets on the police academy, and he's like, hey, because I'm doing one-arm push-ups, switching hands, everybody's getting mad at me. But, No, man, it's just I don't understand the need to be nice in in boot camp to these guys. You know, I mean, you don't destroy their spirit, but you gotta tear stuff down to build it back up. And that's the point. Is you're taking lumps of clay and you're molding them into soldiers. Is the way I look at it. And yeah, there's a certain mental level of mental toughness that has to be there to be able to do that. And speaking of mental toughness, I don't think any of these characters had any of that in this movie outside of Richter and Hardesty. The rest of them were just, the slightest bit, and they just kind of folded up. But yeah, what's her name with the shotgun? Lila took the shotgun and hit,
yeah,
and was shoot. I'm like, why did you stop shooting him in the chest? Like, you're aim a little bit higher, hit him in the neck and the face. I'm like, I mean, I understand like a shot to the chest, go for the heart, but I'm like, she was shooting buckshot, not slugs. So
yeah.
I'm like, one high, one low, one high, one low. And if whoever owned that shotgun, like I've got a couple, and my short 20 gauge is buckshot, slug. So, I'm throwing a buckshot first, and then you're going to get hit with a slug. So it's like, anybody that knows anything is loading like that, I'm like, this Richter guy is like a Texan, I'm like, come on, man, he's got to know better than that. I felt like Joe Biden for a second. I was like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing?
I felt like they had Lila that had become so, because what happened to her, she was like so introverted and stuff, and they could have really used this as something like, sometimes you're gonna have to protect yourself, or sometimes you're gonna have to like step up. But she never got her moment. It was just her sister protected her the whole way through the film. Like, even stupid stuff like getting her out the window and all. And I'm like, you pick your hero, or is Leatherface the hero because you made us hate everyone else for the whole entirety of the film? It's very confusing in parts, but they could have tidied it up so much more, or even made them more sympathetic that you didn't want them to die in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that was most of the problem. Was it's like, you never were given an opportunity to really invest in any of the new characters. Mm-hmm. It was, they're either stupid, weak, or just assholes was basically it. And they tried a little bit with Lila, not enough with Melody to make her turn that corner to make you'd be like, oh, Jesus, just kill her off already. Because that's, from the beginning of the movie, I'm just like, okay, when's this one going to get it? She's going to die. It's just a question of when. And I called that one too. I was like, she'll probably die some like quote unquote wannabe heroic death, and that's what she did. And that whole thing with like all the water, I'm like, where the hell are they at?
Yeah.
Where there's,
it was like a mine or something. I didn't know where we were. I was like, why can't we be running around the field? Like the way it's always in the fields, and there's always laundry on the line. It's like the thing, but we ended up in a cave. I still couldn't figure out why.
I'm like, and if there's that much standing water under a building, it's not going to be standing because it's going to rot the floor out. There's going to be mold. I'm like, well, which is probably why there was a cracked hole in the floor. But I'm like, who let the water get that high in there? Is there no drainage?
Yeah.
I'm like, whoever the city planner is did not do a very good job.
No.
But it didn't. It was very, very vexing. And you could have called that a mile away when he, when the girl, which one fell in? Was it Melody? Or was it Lila that fell in the hole? Was it Lila?
Fell in. Yeah.
I can't. Yeah. I couldn't remember. I was like, she fell in, and when she's crawling out, I'm like, gee, I wonder what's going to happen next, Yeah. It's like very, very tropey. They could have like done a button hook with that one or a bait and switch, but they didn't. They just went straight up. Hey, look, what's going to happen, kids. Let's do it.
What did you think about the actual ending, though?
The post credit scene,
the head in the car.
I was just. By the time she was being driven away by the self-driving car, I was just like, oh my god. What was your take on it?
I like the fact that she couldn't actually stop the car, because I thought that was funny, but I feel like he should have just killed them both. I think that would have been better just when they thought, because you remember he already stuck the chainsaw in the bus. I kind of felt in the final minutes he should just kill the two of them, and then you had the post-credit scene because it was tied up. Because I'm not sure how those cars work. Like, does it actually drive her to the destination and then she'll get out and go, he's killed everybody in town? It should have been complete because they want to do a sequel. I don't know if you know, but I think that should have been. Oh, he has more ideas. The director, I can't wait. But I think they should have, like, literally, they never left town, and then that stayed there, and he was able to go to the house, and then we could have a carry on. But I'm assuming they're going to use her for the sequel and she's going to come back being a badass or something.
Oh, yeah, I don't... She'll be as believable as a badass as the little girl in Terminator Dark Fate.
She looks very young. Like 14, like very young. Well, I think she's 20-something.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, because she was supposed to be like, what? Like fresh out of high school in this, I think?
Yeah, I thought she was way younger.
That was it. I'm like, yeah, is she a child? Like, that was the thing when she was up with Richter and she's smoking. I'm like, there's no way they gave this girl like a sex. They're gonna give her like any kind of sex scene. So I was like, because I was like unsure about the actress. I'm like, yeah, because she looked like a child. I'm like, that's why when she was like, did you hook up with him? I'm like, they're not in Mississippi. That's like they're in Texas, not Mississippi or Alabama. Plus, they're not even cousins. I'm just kidding, my people in the South. I'm just kidding. Make all your jokes about the North you want. It's fine. But no, I did. I was just like, yeah, how? Because they weren't clear on her age, you know. Yeah, it was like, because they didn't say like how long ago she was involved in the school shooting. I don't think they did anyway. No. All they did was allude to the fact that she was of it because she had the bullet wound on her shoulder that they kind of showed. But yeah, I was just kind of taken aback by the whole thing. It's like, what are you trying to do with her? Like there's things that you could have done, but you didn't. You kind of cheaped out on it. Yeah, it didn't make sense. There is so much of it that didn't make sense. Frankie knows the old cartoon puddle trick that's 25 feet deep. Yes, that's what it was. It was unexpected puddle. God, wait. No, you're spot in Texas. We ride horses, not family members. You're spot on in Texas. See, that's it. It's over. It's like it's Alabama, isn't it? Tell me it's Alabama without telling me it's Alabama. Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm gonna have to make that joke to Nick because from Echo Base because he's from Bama. I'll mess with him. But no, these this was rough. Yeah, that post-credit scene, it's like, how did he even drag himself like that far? Like, how far did he walk?
There was no like concept of like land or time because Hardesty obviously. All right, my other thing was she got the phone call and just appeared. But were you close enough not to notice the gigantic man that happened to just look like the fella that attacked you many years ago? Just happened to be down the road. Like, how far is the spacing of all these towns and houses?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense because I'm taking it, because it's in Texas, it's like, it looked like it was kind of like a desolate type area. Well, it wasn't in Texas, it was Bulgaria, but it's supposed to be Texas. I was like, do they know? Like I said, I'm not sure if there's any ghost towns like that in Texas. We got peeps from Texas in the chat. Let me know. Is there any like thing like that? You know what I mean? Like a kind of abandoned type area, where there's like a few people. I mean, I know there's probably like tiny little towns. I mean, I grew up in a town like that outside of where I live now, which I call like where I live now, my hometown. But like, it's about 15 minutes west of here, and there's more cows than people, like where I grew up. There used to be 2 party stores. There used to be gas stations, an elementary school, a post office, and like a farm supply store, and that was it. That was the entire town. Like you blink and you'll miss it. There was no stoplights. But like that kind of like, okay, so where I like this would have worked the way they did it where I grew up because everything is so far apart. Like there's one like small, and it's not like a downtown like that was there. Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of houses, but there's like I said, a post office and then like a co-op, or farm supply store, and then you have like out towards the main road about like a half mile away, there's houses all the way down lining the street, but you had like a gas station here, then across the road you had a gas station there. Now one's a bar and the other one's still a party store. So, it's that kind. I'm like, okay, so I'm kind of like visualizing it, is set up where I live. Like, okay, so this is like where Hardesty lived is obviously out in the middle of nowhere, where Leatherface's house is out in the middle of nowhere, but like there's got to be some kind of distance between them. And I don't think Sally Hardesty lived anywhere near that area when all this happened, because they were just passing through.
Yeah.
It just all that, like you said, it kind of threw me. Like the time and distance was very off. Like, how far did Leatherface have to walk when he got into the car accident in the beginning in the sheriff's van? How far did he have to walk back to this? Like, how far? Because that looked like a long, desolate stretch of road, with literally nothing there. So I'm oddly surprised how Bulgaria passed for Texas at all. And like I said, I've never been to Texas, so I don't have any personal experience. So I have no idea. I've seen pictures, obviously, and documentaries about things on there. So it's like, you kind of get like the country and then like, what the cities look like. I was a huge Dallas fan in the 80s, but it was very odd. This whole production was odd.
I think it's with the because I watched 2003. You strand them on the property, and you can have them move around the property, but they're still stuck on the property. But this was jumping too much constantly, and it's like, okay, how close are these other towns? How did she get there? And it's leaving too many plot holes. There's so many plot holes, but it just kept adding up. And then I was like, why? Why couldn't we have just wrapped things up with other things and just streamlined it? And now I'm worried for the sequel. I'm gonna watch the sequel. Let's not get ourselves there. But I wanna. It's gonna be a trash fire. I know it is, and I'm kind of excited to see how bad it's gonna be. But I'm like, we don't need a sequel. Like, even though I can say that, like.
No, there was no need for a sequel to this, but they obviously left it open for one, and it's like, who is he going to go after now? Is Lila going to come back? Is she, and are they going to try to make her into a Sally Hardesty type character? Like, are they going to like age her up? What are they going to do here? Because there's, yeah. I'll watch it. Obviously, I make my the precipice of my YouTube channel is I watch horrible movies and shows and review them.
Don't we all?
Oh yeah, that's basically it. As I'm like right now, 12 hours deep into my Batwoman review from Wednesday, which honestly I'm probably not going to put that out until Saturday. Because I want it to be, there's this episode, and then the one next Wednesday is they call it the season finale, but let's not kid ourselves. It's the series finale, because they haven't renewed it yet. Why they're not renewing that show, which builds my anticipation for the pilot for Gotham Knights, because that's going to be a trash fire too. And I don't think that show will make it past a pilot, to be honest with you. So but I'm reviewing Bel Air now too. The new Fresh Prince show, which is, oh yeah, it had a few moments in the episode that I haven't watched episode 5. I watched episode 4 last week, which my episode 4 and 5 review will be out Sunday. I was just like, oof, through the first 3 episodes. It was bad. Let's see. Frankie knows. Leatherface flew first class from Bulgaria to the old Texas house. Even bought a seat for the chainsaw. The Bulgarian chainsaw massacre just doesn't ring like Texas.
That sounds like an asylum ripoff, which I'd probably watch.
I was going to say that the asylum movies, that's like your wheelhouse.
Yeah, they keep flagging with stuff though. If they could stop doing that, it'd be fantastic. But yeah, they
what do they flag? What are they?
Time. No, sorry, content claim. Every single video I do is content claim.
Have you been disputing those?
Yeah, I gave up because they kept it was stupid because I had it started they did it on and off, and then once they started saying one of the videos has like 1.4k views, and once that's the last one I did, and that one got like very badly content claimed, and I kept disputing that one because like I'm not getting monetized at any stage. I'm not gonna kid myself. But I was just like, oh, the most popular one. Yeah, like I was going back and forth with YouTube. But I was like, oh, of course they're not going to take the claim off that one. So now I want to take a break and watch something else from another studio. Because the minute people tweet them the links to my videos, because I stopped atting them because they kept flagging me. So I'm just going to hope they forget I'm there and might leave me alone for a few weeks. And then I'll try and go back to the soil. It's so annoying.
Yeah, all my like videos that are like the hitters with like, well, I've only got I think 3 over 1,000. The dump truck, the Pixar Moms video is at like almost 52,000 views. That got copyright claimed right away because of the songs. So yeah, it kind of sucks. I'll never be able to monetize that, but yeah, But YouTube it was really fickle with that. Hail, Vinny. What's up, my brother? Vinnieart in the chat. We got. I don't know. You guys probably heard that. Trey yelled, "Hey, Vinny." Yeah, this is YouTube is fickle with that. That's why, like with my Batwoman reviews, I'll clip like 5 seconds of a scene, and that's the longest clip I'll use from a scene from the show, because WB is really they hit hard with them claims on that, so I really had to watch it. Hey, my sketchbook, have a great day, my brother. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Trey, Vinny said hi. But we're talking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you had to score this on like a 5 scale, what would you give this, Vassy?
I'd have to put it at 2.5. I have to give it points for the gore and the set pieces and stuff, but then I have to take away points because I hate everybody and the stuff didn't make sense. It's a 50-50 film. I think that's fair. 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, I'll go with that.
That's kind of my thinking too. It's like you have bad character development. It's a weak script, you know, but it's a horror movie. So, and it's a Netflix movie. So I was like, okay, the set pieces I thought like did look good. Like I said, I'm not going for accuracy of the of the actual landscape, but you know, I thought it looked good. Yeah, the gore effects were great. They were great. Leatherface, I mean, he looked all right. I don't have any issue with this iteration of Leatherface. I look fine. But again, character motivations, decision making, development. It's an average slasher movie. You know, it's like you're supposed to hate this character, okay, and then you know you have the main two. And you're like, am I supposed to not like them, or am I supposed to like them? And that's a problem with the writing, that really, because it takes away from your story, because then your audience isn't focused on what's going on. They're trying to figure out, do I like this character or don't I? You know, that's to me that's bad. It's bad. Let's see. Nano Reaper says originally it was supposed to be in theaters, but no studio wanted it because it was so bad.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I can believe that. I can definitely believe that. You know, this franchise has been around since the 70s. These folks can't help themselves, but you know, dig up and the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is damn near perfect as far as horror movies go. It really was. I don't know the original like budget. I'm gonna look up the budget for that, because I mean it's like they did a lot more with a lot less back then. You know.
True, and I think it used, because you know the way it's based off Ed Gein. I think that kind of fascination with serial killers and the people, I call it people furniture. The way they had like the they'd use skin and bones from victims in the house. Like that was lacking. That I think adds to the fascination with the franchise of how macabre some of it is, and they just kind of forgot about that as well. And the family, I think, is just as important as Leatherface is in some aspects because they're all batshit crazy. Like, and even when they're impersonating sheriffs, they're the most unhinged. Is when the family member was pretending to be the sheriff in the Jessica Biel one. He was like the most unhinged. They kind of add to the whole thing. And the house is like a character in itself. But it all just seems to got forgotten. And I think it adds to Leatherface as well. It like I know Freddy Krueger, I think, can stand on his own 2 feet, and Jason Voorhees, but I think Leatherface needs the kind of ensemble, and I think that's what makes the franchise. And a lot of it just got, I assume they just wasn't bothered at maybe adding it in, or they were trying to put the focus more on the kids or something, but a lot was missing.
Yeah, they oh God. Let's see. So the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre budget was between $80,000 and $140,000.
Wow, jeez.
And it drew, let's see, it was banned in several countries. Numerous theaters stopped showing the film in response to complaints about its violence. It was highly profitable, grossing over $30 million at the domestic box office, equivalent to roughly over $150.8 million as of 2019, selling over 16.5 million tickets in 1974.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Nano brings up, the original was based on Ed Gein. Yeah, he was from Wisconsin, my neighboring state. But yeah, that Leatherface was based on him because Ed Gein used the bones and skin to make lamps and lampshades and stuff around his house from his victims that he buried under his front porch. Yeah, my wife taught a entire section on serial killers when she was teaching.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so interesting. I'd be there. I'd probably be up the front row. I'm so weird, like with that stuff.
Yep. Oh no, it's same. I used to do a lot of because I took a lot of psych for my law enforcement and criminal justice degree, and that was one of my favorite parts was when we got to talk about like serial killers and stuff like that. And it's funny if you look at like the history of serial killers, there's very few black serial killers. Detroit happens to be home to one of them, which was kind of neat. You know, it's like something our state can claim. It's like, hey, we had a famous serial killer, a rarity too, because he wasn't a white guy from 30 to 40. You know, because that's typically what they are.
And who was he?
If the serial killer from Detroit, I'll have to look up his name. Let me see. Let's see, because I believe it was in the 70s or 80s, and he was killing prostitutes.
Oh.
Detroit serial killer Kenyell Brown.
Oh, I've never heard of him.
Nope. He let's see. He died at age 40. Killed himself. He was a American criminal prime suspect in a series of murders which occurred in 3 cities in Wayne County, Michigan between December 7th, 2019. Oh, this is a new one. This is a newer one. Because I thought there was one before him. So that's a newer one.
God.
Yeah.
Fun.
Right? It is.
Serial
It's like, let's see. I think it's the 1980s. Yep, 1980s comes up. Let's see what we got here. Because I think that's the one. Benjamin Atkins. Yep, Benjamin Atkins. He was, let's see. He died in 1997 at the age of 29. He was the Woodward Corridor Killer and the Highland Park Strangler were his nicknames. He's the younger of 2 sons. As victims, Atkin chose young and middle-aged, destitute women, often prostitutes and drug addicts. He would lure them to abandoned buildings and houses where he assaulted them and strangling his victims, leave the bodies at the crime scenes, with some of them discovered months after the deaths. The first victim to be discovered was 30-year-old Debbie Ann Friday. She was found on December 14th, 1991, after going missing on December 8th. And then they found the body of a 26-year-old 3 weeks later named Bertha Jean Mason. Well, you can tell that's an older one, Bertha. You don't hear that name very often.
No.
But no, so yeah, there's Detroit is home to two of the only black serial killers, I guess you would consider them. Atkins was, and like I said, I didn't know about the Danielle. The newer one. I'd never even heard of him. But that's way I've been out of college since 2011. So I haven't really looked much. There hasn't really been much news by the way of new serial killers that we've heard of lately. And the scary thing is like there are like so many active serial killers that we don't even know about. It's terrifying.
Yeah, I noticed it's always just a fascination with Ted Bundy and Dahmer. Like, they always focus on those two. And there's been, I don't want to say worse, they're all bad, but like crazier ones or whatever, or even more heinous. Like the Night Stalker, when I was watching the Night Stalker stuff, I wasn't even aware of some of the stuff he did. And now it's like, why doesn't he get mentioned as much as Ted Bundy?
Right, Night Stalker. That was Richard Ramirez, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he
him
went
and
after kids and everything.
The Zodiac. Yeah, the Zodiac killer. What was it? The Hillside Strangler.
Yeah.
Dennis Rader was the BTK. That guy was scary because this dude was like going around measuring people's lawns, and he was like he worked for like the city of wasn't he in like Iowa or something? I think it was out there. I can't remember where Dennis Rader was, but you had the Green River Killer, the Hillside Strangler, the Hollywood Hills Strangler. As Vinny said, Fauci. Fauci. Was it Chris Cuomo, Gretchen Whitmer? There's going. Hail Franchise History TV. What's going on, brother? But no, yeah, and we haven't even mentioned Gacy yet, the clown.
Yeah.
That was Dahmer. I don't know who was more sadistic though, Dahmer or Gacy. I mean, they're all sadistic, but like Dahmer was keeping these people in barrels. He was trying to like make zombies out of them. You know what I mean? He was eating them. And he was picking up like he was Dahmer targeted the gays, and more specifically, it was I believe black gays,
young black men,
teenagers. Yeah, that was like his, and one of them escaped like his apartment, and that's how he got caught. Was he let one of them escape? Which you knew it was dude. They go in. It's like the neighbors like, yeah, we noticed something smelled bad. I'm like,
and you didn't bring anyone like.
Yeah, like nothing. You maybe call the building super and have him, do something about it. Frankie Knows says the Night Stalker was the most dangerous because he was totally random on his victims, man, woman, and child. Yes. Yeah. Because a lot of serial killers have like a specific modus operandi, and the Night Stalker was just like, oh, okay, your number's up,
Yeah.
And that's. It's you can't plan for that. You can't defend. There's no defending against that. It's all because it's all random. There's no pattern. There's no rhyme or reason. And to kind of bring this back to Leatherface and how they correlated this to Ed Gein. I mean, that's a pretty. It's a stretch to make the Leatherface out of Ed Gein, which I mean, Ed Gein wasn't hacking people up with it. I mean, he might have used a chainsaw at one point. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, a lot of it is embellishment for the sake of of selling tickets. But I found that very interesting when I found out that Leatherface was based on Ed Gein. I'm like, why would they set it in Texas then? If he was from Wisconsin, I guess Texas would be more interesting than Wisconsin for a serial killer. But when the movie was made, when Tobe Hooper made the original one, you didn't have Dahmer yet, because Dahmer didn't come around until the 80s. So, I don't know. I just.
Sorry, I remember the first time I'd seen the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I wasn't aware of Ed Gein. And when they wheel the final girl out to the dinner table, and then you kind of get a full scope of what's inside the house, and I was like, oh my god, this film's so messed up. And then I remember finding out it was an actual person made like people lamps, and I was like, All right, I ended
Yep.
up googling it, and the Ed Gein was nuts. So, but I couldn't get over the fact he was
Yeah.
like randomly killing people in town. Like the town populace was going down, down, down. Like it was
Yeah.
just like, oh, another person died this week, and I was like, how is no one catching any sooner? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's not like he lived in a huge metropolitan area.
No.
There was a limited number of people, you know. It was it kind of reminds me of that Stephen King movie Silver Bullet. You remember that?
Oh, I haven't seen that in ages.
Okay, so you know that you're familiar with the movie. So the priest is a werewolf and he's killing all these people, and it's like it's a small town.
Yeah.
It's like you know, process of elimination. But yeah, I always thought that was funny about that movie. I'm like, this is a small town. Like these people can't put two and two together here. I mean, you know. But no, I love Silver Bullet. That's probably one of my favorite Gary Busey roles, along with Corey Haim. R.I.P. Corey. He died. Yeah, Corey Haim's the one that passed away, I believe. Nano says, what about the guy in Colombia that killed 300 plus hookers, or the Russian dude that killed 75 kids? Oof. I don't know about that. See, outside of the country, I'm not sure, because we don't get all that. We don't hear about those a lot, you know, unless you watch like those, a lot of investigative discovery, which I haven't had time as of late. But that's one of my favorite things is like the serial killer documentaries on there. Like you said, I'm weird.
Very few serial killers come out of Europe, and it's do you know that weird one when the guy ended up meeting some fella on a forum to plan to kill each other? It's like random stuff like that. There's very few. Well, in Russia, there's actually a lot of serial killers, but like it's like random violent acts, rather than planned,
Yeah.
serial killing. I don't know which is worse. Then, to be fair, like.
Yeah, that's another debate altogether. You know, what's worth random acts of violence or planned violence? There's demerits to both.
Yeah.
But well, I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to add about the movie before we kind of round it out?
I hope there's a sequel, and we're all going to watch it, and then we're all going to complain about it at the end.
I will absolutely, as soon as they come out with the sequel, Vassy and I will review it again. Absolutely. Yeah. I've enjoyed this. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's been great having you back. Go ahead and I'll post your link in the chat, but you go ahead and tell the people what you got coming up on the channel.
Sometimes I review bad movies, but a lot of the time, every week we have the horror movie club. So what we do is we pick 2 films a week to watch, and then we discuss it on the stream every Tuesday. So this month it's comedy horror themed. So we've picked all these we have Shaun of the Dead this week to watch, and we have Final Girls, and then we'll discuss that on Tuesday. So every month as well, there's a different genre of horror. So we keep changing things up just to have new stuff to talk about.
Well, excellent. Yeah, I've just posted your link in the live chat. Go subscribe to Vassy. Give her your subscription. She puts out wonderful content, and she's awesome.
And I'm not getting flagged.
That's right. And we're glad to have her back on the channel. And what the hell, we'll play this one more time for her.
They come out to play with the big boys, Ian, because you're about to get a proper Scottish welcome.
What?
Fair. People, my own subscribers make fun of my accent. And I'm like, and then trolls will come in, and I was like, my own audience makes fun of me. This is nothing. We're fine. Like,
I like your accent. I can understand what you say. That guy I couldn't understand at all. And it's funny too, because the ASMR I listen to at night is actually a Scottish girl.
oh really?
Lauren Woods. It's Scottish ASMR.
Lovely.
Yep. Yeah, she's 400,000 subscribers. It's like,
Oh damn. Okay.
yeah, she's making bank. She's like 29.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. So that's what I go to sleep to every night with my sleep mask on and my earbuds in, and I'm all bougie. That's me. You. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Let me go through Frankie Knows, Nano Reaper, Vinnieart, Franchise History TV, Clone Geek. I didn't acknowledge you, brother. I'm sorry, Clone Geek. Dion wasn't on WCBS yesterday because he was trying to save the white women in Ukraine. Oh, Mrs. Dion was probably pissed. He's going after saving other white women. I love it. I love it. My sketchbook 340 was in the house. Let's see who else. We had Davian Donaldson, Horny Alf, Brightest Day. Again, Brightest Day, my brother. Congratulations on hitting 1K. That's awesome, man. You put out great content. Nerdporeal Lifeform was up in here. Let's go all the way back. Parrothead, purveyor of memes, which Parrothead, I've got a inbox full of Parrothead memes to make another bumper for the live shows. Keely Chow was in the chat. Let's see who else was up in here early and go all the way back to the beginning. I think Nano was actually the first person to comment. MMA Grant was here. The Rookie Critic was here. Nikki D, thank you for that super chat earlier, Nikki. I do appreciate it. Yeah, we do. We're getting ready to do, like I said, I tell you guys all the time, we're getting ready to do channel memberships, but I'm not opening up channel memberships until I have my custom emojis for you guys and the stuff for the giveaways, because I want to do something special for my channel members. If you're going to give me your hard-earned money like you do with super chats, and I appreciate the hell out of it. I don't ask for it. You know, if y'all give it to me, that's fine. I do. But every dollar I make, know that it's not going to anything but back into the channel. So that's it. You know what I mean? Because that's money. That's your hard-earned dollars you're giving to me for entertaining you, and why would I not turn around and use the properties of reciprocity with that and use it to, like I said, this all going to go into new equipment, giveaways. So let's see. Today, I'm going to be working on the Batwoman review the rest of the day. If I happen to get it done, depending on what time it is, it'll come out today. If not, we'll premiere it tomorrow morning, and we'll do a live watch. I'll be in the chat for the premiere of that. So just know that I'm not fluffing off on my Batwoman. You're gonna get it. It's gonna be a bang. It's gonna be a banger too, because I've spent 12 hours working on 10 minutes of the video. So just know that I have a 30 paragraph script I wrote for this review. All right. It took me 5 hours. I watched the episode over the course twice or 3 times over the course of 5 hours to rewrite and write my script for it. We're like I said, 10 minutes into the video, I've already got 400 screenshots I've taken. Yeah, so, I'm busting my ass on this. You'll get the Bel Air review. Hail the lovely Sherry. Good morning, darling. Welcome to the lovely Sherry. Thank you. You're catching us right at the tail end, but if you want to hear Vassy and my thoughts on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, catch us on the replay. That's why I was trying to keep this under an hour and a half for a review. I'm not going to trim it up or nothing. That'll be listed under the movie review playlist, right there for y'all to check out, which has live stream reviews and single release reviews as well. So let's see what else we got coming up here. Bel Air review episode 4 and 5. I'll probably drop that Sunday, and then Monday night, we got Monday night going in Raw. Myself, Tony, Vinny, Red, the 4 horsemen of Monday nights. Tony is actually working on the Teespring store, designing some new t-shirts. I've been lax with the Teespring. That's why I haven't been plugging it, because I'm not going to sell you guys subpar shit. And Teespring took a lot of the stuff, the styles and things that I had off. So we're redoing merchandise. Tony's coming up with some new designs. We'll have brand specific for Monday, Wednesday. And I promise the name of the show won't change on Wednesdays anymore. We had 50 episodes of going rogue, and no longer does Rogue Entertainment exist. You know, we're now United Underground, which is fine. I don't care. I just don't want to have to change the name of my damn Wednesday night show anymore. It used to be The Boardroom. Then it was Wednesday Raw Wednesday, and then it was Going Rogue, and now it's just Wednesday night, the place to be live. That's it. Or something like that. But yeah, so thank you everybody for subscribing, for watching, coming into the chat. We appreciate you guys. Slap that like button, ring the bell. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It's free. It always will be to subscribe. We'll provide you with premium content when we've got all that lined up, and do the Patreon. I don't know if we'll do a Patreon or Subscribe Star. I don't like the way Patreon handles people, and Patreon tends to judge people based on their politics, and I don't want to give another platform like that my business. So I'm thinking Stream Elements or something like that, but so we'll find something like that when we're ready. Not right now. Not right now. I'm not there yet. I'm not there. If you guys want to drop a super chat, that's fine, but I'm not asking for it. So it's all strictly voluntary. But yeah, so thank you, everybody. I do appreciate it. I'm a Jew. I'm not that cheap, though. I do. My self-deprecating humor is my hallmark, as is this pretty bald head of mine. But yeah, I'm Tepo Kuyin of the Place to Be Reviews. Vassy and I have been here with all of you. If we don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow. We'll catch you on the next one. And remember,
I could do this all